هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك. Welcome, my friends, in this Friday Jumu'ah, where we are seeking unity with capital U, or seeking the unity of all the qualities, beauties, and mostly of all the forces that, as a human being walking in this path, in this journey, which is life, need to integrate. We meditated on the divine name Ar-Rahman in our first session, Ar-Rahim in our second session, and in order comes the name Al-Malik, and that order comes from the end of Surah Al-Hashr. These names are mentioned in that order. Al-Malik. But also, it makes sense. It makes sense that we start thinking about mulk, you know. Al-Malik means the king. Mulk means, milk means possession. Mulk means sovereignty. It makes sense that in the history of the human being, or in the evolution of the human being, that is the next stage. Because after we said that Ar-Rahman is the birth of things and the creativity, and that's how the child evolves. And after that, we said there is Ar-Rahim, and Ar-Rahim is the name of relatives and family and connectivity, love. After that, you know, now you have your love, you have a family, comes the, you want to own a home, you want to control something. You want to control your family. You want to establish order in that family. So the idea of mulk naturally comes after Ar-Rahim. There is no contradiction here. It's an evolution. It's a stage of evolution. The idea of mulk naturally, it's a natural evolution after Ar-Rahim. And we think about it even in the evolution of the human today. Okay. The societies as well. Can imagine the societies in the beginning. They were just one family, one tribe. They did not need a malik. They don't. Once they have a big number of people, they need governance. They need to establish governance, and then the idea of kingship or mulk comes. So here we'll be discussing the idea of kingship, sovereignty, okay, and the force of establishment. You know. So the divine name Al-Malik, often translated as the king, and it is the most, or at least one of the most difficult divine names, because this literal translation carries centuries of imagery tied to domination, control, qahr, and vertical hierarchy. And to call the divine essence the king may hurt, and it must hurt if we think of the king in that way. Yeah. And we don't know what to do with it. Oh, a king, then what? We need to be submitting to that king with another with another wrong translation of Islam as the submission. Then what are we? We are subjects. We become subjects of a king, and that's the whole point of being a human. And then that is problematic, both morally and spiritually. And that is sterile. It is a sterile definition. It doesn't allow you to progress. It doesn't allow you to evolve. That's it. You are a subject, submissive subject to a dominated king that has the right to do all sort of things to you. Al-Malik actually, in reality, does not sanctify power. It actually dissolves the very illusion of absolute human power. And that's what we are going to demonstrate here. To speak of Al-Malik today with you is to disentangle authority from domination, heal our distorted relationship to control, and rediscover a sovereignty without violence, first and foremost within. The Arabic linguistic root of Al-Malik, mim, la, ka, and basically la, ka, it is a word in Arabic. It means belonging to you. Laka, alaka hada, malak, lak. Okay. And then you have the meme that comes in the beginning of the word to tell you that the meme means the wholeness. So it's the wholeness of possession. It can translate as the one who possesses everything, but it can also translate as the one who is whole, who is fully established within. From that root comes the word milk, possession, mulk, kingdom, sovereignty, malik, a king, but also comes the word malak. Malak, plural of malak, malaika, angels. We said before that malaika, they mean actually, and we'll see later on, they mean the harmony, or these forces that are establishing harmony and coherence in the cosmos. So, anyways, this root never denotes arbitrary ownership. It always implies authority linked to function, responsibility, and a trust that has been entrusted. And in this semantic field, to possess does not mean to appropriate. But malaka, to possess, does not mean to appropriate, but to be responsible for what has been placed in one's care. We have the word Al-Malik and Al-Malik, and both exist in the Quran, and both are names of the divine. There is the name of the divine Malik al-Mulk, we'll see it later. But there is Al-Malik, Al-Malik or Al-Malik, because when it in Surah Al-Fatiha, Maliki Yawmiddin or Maliki Yawmiddin. So Al-Malik is the sovereign, and that's an ontological authority, intrinsic and not derived. Okay, not like the master, it's like the sovereign. Okay, now Al-Malik is the possessor, the one to whom everything truly belongs. So the divine is both the one who establishes order, Al-Malik, but also the one to whom nothing can be appropriated. And this dual reading dismantles every illusion of ultimate human ownership. And that's the point of the name Al-Malik. It is a healer. It is therapeutical. It heals you from the illusion of power and domination and control. It is a beneficial disillusionment. It brings a beneficial and healing therapeutical disillusionment. That's how it operates when you progress in the dhikr of Al-Malik. The dhikr, I mean by that, when you keep fertilizing yourself, when you keep when you keep fertilizing yourself with the consciousness of Al-Malik, with the energy of Al-Malik. First of all, in Indo-European languages, king or rex comes from the origin rex, comes from the root reg, R-E-J, and that's to draw straight, that's to order, that's to establish a rule. We have the word to regulate still. Originally, the function of the king is, or was, the one who guarantees coherence and order, not the one who dominates. The one who guarantees coherence and order. And there comes the meaning of malaika, because the malaika are the agents of that coherence and order. And let me add another word, harmony, because that's the point. The point is that everything is in harmony. Now, the expression to rule over, for example, is a later development, and it introduces domination, appropriation of the kingdom, rigid hierarchy, and spiritually speaking, this is distortion. Because an authentic king does not rule over, or governs over, but rules and governs from within by being established within. And here there is another distortion comes to mind, master versus sovereign. So you find in some translations Al-Malik translated as master, and people saying the master when they describe the divine. And that's wrong from a linguistic point of view, and problematic, because master, magister, implies a comparative greatness, control, power over. It comes from magnus in Latin, and that's magnus means greater than. There is that idea of being greater than, dominating someone, and that's why you are magnus. That's why you become a master, and that's not. I would say, it's heavy to describe the divine in that way. While sovereign comes from superanus, and that is authority beyond rivalry. That is a grounded presence. Al-Malik belongs more to sovereignty than, never to dominating mastery. And that's very important for our tarbiyah. Because when we are natakhallaq bi akhlaqillah, when we are integrating these qualities, we said in the first introduction that the divine names are for us. They're for us to awaken in us fitras, sound human nature, and help us to work on something. If my ideal is to dominate and to master, that is problematic. But if my ideal is to be sovereign, that's very different. Because Sovereign is, you are sovereign or you are not sovereign. You cannot be sovereign against someone, you know. Sovereignty is, it is an intrinsic quality. While mastery, you need to dominate someone or something or a subject to become a master in it. What Al-Malik reveals, Al-Malik teaches that all human authority is relative because there is Al-Malik, there is the one true king, sovereign. All possession is temporary because there is the one true Malik, possessor. All power is entrusted and never owned, let alone deserved or uh, uh, let alone deserved. To recognize Al-Malik is to understand that life, the body, time, relationships, and gifts are responsibilities, not properties. Al-Malik functions as a name of liberating disillusionment. It ends rivalry with reality. It ends rivalry with reality. They're not competing, and it dissolves the fear of loss as well, because there is a unity of sovereignty. Nothing is really lost, it is there. So that fear of loss will be dissolved, and it dismantles the managerial ego. It does not demand submission. It calls for rightness and alignment. That is the fruit. The distortion that we have in our religious mind, it demands submission. Al-Malik is the king. No, it calls for rightness and alignment. It calls for inner sovereignty. The human being cannot rule the world, but they can stop being enslaved by reactions, stop being possessed by fear, inhabit a stable inner center. To live and to live the dhikr of the name and to live in relation to Al-Malik is not self-mastery in a repressive sense, like we see in asceticism in some Asian orders. No, but it is about ceasing to be governed by what is not essential, and that is the essence of tasawwuf. It is to cease to be governed by what is not essential. And I will conclude with, so if we talk about the divine, instead of saying the king, he is the sovereign he. So we can speak of unity, force, or harm or perfection. And then I would that de-anthropomorphize the name, and that frees the name from gender, and that transforms it from a title into an ontological principle, and that's what we want. So when we say unity, it's non-division, absence of rivalry, inner coherence. So I will call it this name, I will translate it as the unity of sovereignty. I will also translate it as the force of sovereignty in relation. So when we think of God, we think of God as the unity of sovereignty. When we think of the name, the call in that name for us, we think of the force of sovereignty or the force of establishment. We can also call it the perfection of harmony, because that is the fruit of the sovereignty. That is what is intended by mulk to begin with, is to bring about harmony. Thank you, my dear friends, and blessed Friday. Now, for the dhikr of Al-Malik, we don't say Ya Malik. It is heavy. Some names you can have the dhikr with Ya, O, but with Al-Malik, we cannot say Ya Malik. It may be very heavy on you. It is advised rather to do dhikr هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك, or الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك, or هو الملك هو الملك هو الملك هو الملك هو الملك هو الملك. You see here it is liberating, because هو الملك, not you, but in the same time هو الملك, right? You, the huwa within you is being empowered by that name. You are gaining in inner authority, inner sovereignty. هو الملك 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 القدوس السلام. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.